It started with a simple errand. My girlfriend, Vanessa, needed passport photos for a surprise weekend trip to Montreal she was planning for my birthday. It was a Tuesday evening in late October, and the air in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania had that crisp, leaf-smelling chill that promises an early winter. The sun had already dipped below the steeple of the old church on Main Street, leaving the sky a deep, bruised purple. "I told you we could have gone this weekend," I said, my breath making little clouds in the air as we walked from the car. The CVS was on the corner of Broad and Getter, a beacon of fluorescent light in the growing darkness. It was one of those old ones, with a faded, slightly peeling sign and a perpetually sticky floor near the soda fountain. "And risk you seeing the receipt and figuring it out?" "No way," Vanessa said, threading her arm through mine. She squeezed my bicep, and a little jolt, part affection, part pure physical reaction, went through me. Even after 2 years she could still do that to me. She was wearing a thick, cream-colored sweater that was soft against my jacket, and a pair of those tight, dark-wash jeans that hugged every curve. I let my eyes drop for a second, watching the sway of her hips as she pulled me toward the automatic doors. The way those jeans fit her was a kind of art. They accentuated the gentle swell of her backside and the long, clean line of her legs down to her ankle boots. I had a sudden, vivid image of my hands on those hips, pulling her close, and I felt a flush of warmth that had nothing to do with the store's heating system. The inside of the CVS was a study in bland corporate cheer. Muzak versions of pop songs fought a losing battle against the hum of the freezers. We passed the aisles of Halloween candy, already picked over, and made our way to the back, where the photo center was tucked next to the pharmacy. The self-service kiosk was a bulky, beige machine with a smudged touchscreen. It stood alone, a little island of outdated technology. The one next to it for dropping off film rolls, a relic from another era, was dark and dusty. "Okay, stand there," Vanessa commanded, pointing to the plain white screen that served as a backdrop. She was buzzing with that particular energy she got when executing a plan. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold, making her freckles stand out. She had this way of biting her lower lip when she was concentrating, her teeth worrying the soft, glossy pink skin. I found myself staring at her mouth, distracted from the mundane task at hand. The first photo was easy. I stood, tried not to look like a criminal, and the flash went off. The machine whirred and spat out a strip of 4 small, identical squares. We leaned over to look. My face was pale, my eyes a little wide. "You look terrified," Vanessa laughed, a warm, throaty sound. She bumped her hip against mine. "Try to look like you want to go to Canada." "I do. I'm just not photogenic." I wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her into my side. She felt small and solid against me. The scent of her shampoo, something with coconut, filled my senses. "My turn? You need one for your passport too, right?" She grinned. "Already done. Did it last week when you were at your mom's." "You're terrifyingly efficient," I said, and I meant it. I kissed the top of her head. "Okay, well, since we're here, let's just get a few prints of those pictures from the hiking trip last month. The ones with the fall colors." I sat down on the wobbly stool in front of the kiosk. The screen glowed, prompting me to insert a memory card or connect a phone. I pulled out my phone, found the USB cable dangling from the side of the machine, and plugged it in. The interface was slow, clunky. I navigated through my photo library, the tiny thumbnails a blur of memories. There was Vanessa on the couch with her cat, a blurry shot of a steak I'd been proud of grilling, a screenshot of a map. That's when I noticed him. He was standing by the end of the shampoo aisle, about 30 feet away, just watching us. Not browsing, not moving. Just standing. He was an older man, maybe in his late 60s, with thinning gray hair combed carefully over a sun-spotted scalp. He wore a brown corduroy jacket that looked too thin for the weather and held a small basket containing what looked like a single bottle of aspirin. His posture was unnaturally straight. "Weirdo at 3 o'clock, I murmured to Vanessa, who was leaning against the machine, scrolling through her own phone. She glanced up, her eyes flicking toward the man, then back to me. "So? He's just shopping. He's staring. Everyone stares in a CVS. It's a law of nature." She went back to her phone, but I kept my peripheral vision on him. There was something about the fixity of his gaze. It wasn't curious or casual. It was assessing, like he was checking items off a list. I shook it off, blaming my own tendency toward low-grade paranoia that I selected about a dozen photos from the hiking trip, Vanessa laughing with a backdrop of brilliant red and orange leaves, a selfie of us by a waterfall, a goofy picture of me pretending to push over a precariously balanced rock that I hit print. The machine whirred to life, its internal mechanisms clunking and grinding. The sound was loud in the quiet corner of the store. The man was still there, that he hadn't moved an inch. The printer started ejecting the 4x6 glossy sheets that I gathered them as they came out, not really looking, just making a neat stack. The photos were warm from the process that I handed the stack to Vanessa. Here, proof of our outdoorsness. She took them, a smile playing on her lips as she flipped through. God, my hair was a mess that day. She held up one of the waterfall selfies that I in it. Her sweater was damp from the mist, clinging to her chest in a way that outlined the shape of her breasts. That I remembered that moment clearly, the cold spray on my face, the warmth of her body pressed against my side. The memory was so vivid, so normal. Then her smile faltered. She frowned, tilting the photo. What's this? What's what? She shuffled to the next photo and the next. Her frown deepened. Josh, these aren't our pictures. What do you mean? I took the stack from her. The top photo was indeed from the hike. The next one was too. But the third one, it was a group shot I'd never seen before. A dozen people were gathered on a sprawling green lawn in front of a large, white-clapboard house with a wide porch. They were all smiling, squinting in bright sunlight that it looked like a summer party at a family reunion. Must be from the cloud or something, I said, though a cold knot was forming in my stomach. Some old shared album. Josh, look at them, Vanessa said, her voice dropping to a whisper. That I did, and the cold knot turned to ice. The people in the photo were strangers. That a stout, smiling woman with a floral print dress. That a balding man in suspenders holding a can of beer. A couple of teenagers looking bored. But there, in the center of the group, was the man in the corduroy jacket. That he was younger in the picture, his hair thicker, but it was unmistakably him. That he had his arm around a woman with kind eyes. And standing next to him, with a forced-looking smile on his face, was me. That it was me, but not me. My hair was shorter, parted on the side in a style I hadn't worn since high school. That I was wearing a polo shirt I didn't own, and I looked a few years younger, my face slightly fuller. But it was my face. My eyes. What the hell is this? I whispered, my throat tight. Vanessa was staring at me, her expression a mixture of confusion and dawning alarm. Josh? Is this some kind of joke? Did you Photoshop this? No. I've never seen these people in my life. I flipped to the next photo. It was another shot from the same gathering. A long picnic table laden with food. The same group of people, laughing. In this one, I was holding a paper plate, talking to an older man. The detail was incredible. That I could see the pattern on the paper plate, red and blue stars. That I could see the sweat stain on the older man's shirt. The next photo was a close-up of me and the woman the corduroy jacket man had his arm around. She was beaming at the camera, her arm linked through mine. She looked maternal. Proud. My heart was hammering against my ribs. I looked toward the shampoo aisle. The man was gone. Where did he go? I spun around, scanning the store. The aisles were mostly empty. An elderly woman was comparing brands of tissues. A young guy was in the snack aisle. No sign of the man in the corduroy jacket. Who? The creeper? Vanessa asked, her hand on my arm. Josh, you're freaking me out. What is this? I don't know. I felt dizzy. I sat back down on the stool, the photos trembling in my hand. I flipped through the rest of the stack. The final few were our hiking pictures again, as if nothing had happened. But sandwiched in the middle were 5 photos from this bizarre, impossible family reunion. It's a glitch, I said, trying to convince myself. It has to be. The machine pulled from some random database. It's a stock photo that just happens to look like me. A stock photo of you and that guy who was just staring at us? Vanessa's voice was sharp with skepticism. Come on. That's too much of a coincidence. She was right. It was. The coincidence was astronomical. Impossible. I pulled the USB cable from my phone. The connection was dead. I reinserted it. The kiosk screen flickered, then asked me to select a source. My photos were still queued. I canceled the job. My hands were sweating. Let's just go, Vanessa said. Her earlier playful mood was gone, replaced by a wary tension. She kept glancing toward the front of the store. No, wait. A stubborn, morbid curiosity had taken hold of me that I had to know, that I had to see if it would happen again. That I selected the same batch of hiking photos, that I hit print. The machine word that we watched the output tray, not speaking. The first photo slid out. A waterfall. Normal. The second, a trail shot. Normal. The third was another reunion photo. This one was different. It was an interior shot. A living room with wood-paneled walls and an old-fashioned floral sofa. That I was sitting on that sofa, next to the corduroy jacket man. That he had his hand on my shoulder. That we were both looking at a photo album spread open on my lap. That it looked intimate, familial. Oh God, Vanessa breathed. She took a step back from the kiosk. Josh, this isn't right. That we need to leave now. The rational part of my brain screamed in agreement. But the part that needed answers, the part that felt violated and confused, kept me rooted to the spot. That I gathered the new photos. They were the same high quality, the same vivid, sunny detail. That I stared at the image of my doppelganger and this stranger. The man's expression was soft, affectionate. That it made my skin crawl. I turned to the pharmacy counter. The pharmacist, a woman with a tired face and a name tag that read Maya, was counting pills. Excuse me? My voice came out hoarse. She looked up, her expression neutral. Yes? I held up the photos. This machine, it's printing pictures that aren't from my phone. She sighed as if this was a common, tedious complaint. Did you log into a cloud account? Sometimes it syncs with old albums. No, I didn't log into anything. These are pictures of me with people I've never met. She came around the counter, wiping her hands on her white coat. She took the photos from me, her eyes scanned them, then flicked up to my face, then back down. A faint line appeared between her eyebrows. Huh, she said. That's odd, they do look like you. It's me, I insisted, a desperate edge creeping into my voice. But it's not that I've never been to that house, that I don't know any of those people. She handed the photos back. It's a software issue. The kiosk's been acting up all week. That I've put in a ticket with IT. She said it with the finality of someone who has dismissed a problem. You're not the first person to get someone else's photos. That stopped me. I'm not? No, last week, a lady got pictures of a wedding in Scranton. She was from Allentown. Never been to Scranton. Maya, the pharmacist, shrugged. Like I said, it's glitchy. You can try again, but I'd wait a few days. It was a logical explanation. A boring, technical, logical explanation. It should have been a relief. But it wasn't. Because the man in the corduroy jacket had been real. He had been standing right there watching us just before his face appeared in these photos. Did you see a man? I asked her, my words tumbling out too fast. Older guy, gray hair, brown jacket? He was standing right over there a few minutes ago. Maya looked past me toward the aisles. Lots of people come through here. I don't really pay attention unless they're picking up a prescription. Her eyes held a flicker of something, not concern but a mild impatience. I was holding up her line. Vanessa tugged on my sleeve. Let's go, Josh, please. Defeated, I nodded. I shoved the bizarre photos into the pocket of my jacket, gathered our correct ones, and we walked out of the CVS. The cold night air felt like a slap. I took a deep breath, trying to clear my head. That was seriously messed up, Vanessa said as we reached the car. She hugged herself, rubbing her arms. It gave me the creeps. Yeah, I said, unlocking the doors. I slid into the driver's seat, the photos a heavy weight in my pocket. I couldn't resist pulling them out again, spreading them on the steering wheel under the dim dome light. In the confines of the car, they seemed even more disturbing. The quality was unnerving. I could see the grain of the wood on the porch, the individual threads in the floral print dress of the stout woman. The sunlight looked hot. It felt like a real memory, a tangible place, but one that existed just on the other side of a wall I couldn't see. Vanessa was quiet on the drive home. She stared out the window at the passing streetlights of Bethlehem, the old steel stacks silhouetted against the night sky. I kept glancing at her profile, the sharp line of her jaw, the delicate shell of her ear partially hidden by her hair. Normally, looking at her calmed me. Now my mind was a riot. The image of the strange family was superimposed over everything. I'd catch a glimpse of her thigh, tensed as she pressed her foot against the floorboard, and for a split second I wouldn't see her, but the floral pattern of that stranger's dress. The horror of the situation was getting tangled up with a raw, physical awareness of Vanessa, a desperate need for the familiar, for the real that I wanted to pull the car over and kiss her, to feel the solid reality of her body against mine, to drive out the phantom images with a sharp, physical sensation. We lived in a small apartment on the south side, an old converted house with creaky floors. The second we were inside, the familiar surroundings should have been a comfort. But the silence felt different, heavier. Vanessa went straight to the kitchen and poured herself a glass of wine. "You want one? Yet not a big one." I tossed my jacket on a chair, the photos spilling out onto the floor. That I left them there, that I didn't want to look at them anymore. That I sat on the couch, rubbing my temples. Vanessa brought the glasses over and sat next to me, curling her legs up beneath her. She took a long sip. "Okay, that's so. Explain it to me again. What the hell happened?" "I don't know," I said, my voice weary. "The pharmacist said it's a glitch, that it's happened before." "But the guy, Josh. The guy in the photo was the guy in the store. That's not a glitch. That's a stalker or something. Maybe he hacked the machine." "Oh. What? To print photos of a fake family reunion? It doesn't make any sense." We lapsed into silence. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. I reached for my wine glass, and my hand brushed against Vanessa's knee. The contact was electric. My fingers lingered for a moment on the rough denim. I could feel the shape of her kneecap beneath the fabric. I looked at her, and she was watching me, her eyes wide and serious. The fear was still there, but underneath it, I saw something else. A reflection of my own confused desire. The strangeness of the evening had stripped away our usual routines, leaving something raw and exposed. I leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was hungry, desperate. A confirmation of existence. She responded immediately, her hands coming up to grip the sides of my face, her wine-flavored tongue meeting mine.